All right, we're going to do the GDH. So we're going to show you some movements on this GDH when you come in next. Steps here for the challenged or height challenged people in this world.
What?
We have the back little bolt. Stops from wiggling. We loosen that and then we select the height. Easiest way to select the height for our first movement, our back extension. Our hip or hip crease just off the edge. Leg should be pretty close to where mine is. You want your feet pretty much pushed up against the edge there, so we'll tighten that up. Jump on. That's pretty solid. Like, I actually tried to tip it before. It's really quite difficult to move around, so don't be afraid. They go in here. Quads are going to go on it. Hang off the edge. Your hips should be in line. Like, this is really lining up my quads. Usually the key with that is we're a little bit too far, so we need to come back. And from here, we're extending up through our glutes and our low back, and up and down, straight into motion. Anyway, just pick ourselves back up, jump on a knee, and jump off the edge. So that was really hurting my quads laying on that one. Key sign is the position just isn't right. So if we adjust it by maybe one up or one down, we can find a better position. And then we can just count the holes at the back for the next time we do it and so forth. Whilst it's still in that position, we'll do this side. So this is the reverse hyper method. It's a little harder when you're a little taller, because it's not so high off the ground, but for shorter people, this is where it's beneficial for them. Hips, it's on the edge. Grab the base plate, drop our head, and extend and control under. We want to try to swing or have our legs kind of come underneath, but it's quite difficult to do when they hit the ground first. It's up and down, up, down. Low back, very good for strengthening this low back. I wouldn't do both of them in the same kind of workout. Pick one, not both. The third one is probably the hardest one, worst one. It's a glute ham raise, which is what this machine was actually developed for. We slide in a bit, a fair bit. This one kind of takes figuring out time of how close you need it to be. You kind of want your quads like on this part here. You want to be pinned in, because if you're not, it sucks. So, bit of coming in here, both sides, and try to get my quads to be squished into the pad as much as I can. So now they're in the pad. The catch is there's a little like base plate on this thing that like your knee can drive into. So it might be worth trying to sit just above it. But now I'm in, yeah. Push up against the back. My goal is to now bend over and come back. There are alternatives to this that are a lot easier than this. This is a very terrible movement, but a very high movement. So you can get a stick as well to help you. You're going to try to control your glutes, so staying upright through your torso, controlling it out as far out as we can come. And once we get to the range, we can try to come back. If we can't, we can push back. This is a little bit too far for me today. We're going to come out again as far as we can. We can even like push and try to get them to work again on the way back, or we can just walk ourselves back up. But that's that one in a nutshell. Really good for the hamstrings, but it's really hard for the hamstrings at the same time. Last one, sit-ups. So I probably should have done this first as well. It's kind of the same settings as that back extension. I'm going to jump on it the opposite way now. Easiest way to set this up is where you want your bum is kind of like just off the edge. Pin your feet into. I like to push up against this with my laces of my shoes, or front of my foot, up here to hold me in. You can have a bent leg if you feel more comfortable doing that. Just obviously bring this in more. Otherwise, I go straight, and then we're going back as far as we can control, and then we're coming up. And there we have a GDH sit-up. Make this harder. You can start with either a plate here or a zombie style, where we're coming out and then we're extending back up. And the hardest variation is going overhead, and we'll see if we can still do it today. Overhead and then back up. Voila. That's a bit more for the abs, a bit more for your flexors, probably more than the abs to be honest. But it is good to train your flexors. We need them. But there it is. It's GHD.